The Frank Haith Show, brought to you by Don Thornton Cadillac, Pepsi, River Spirit, TTCU, the credit union, and St. Francis Health System. And now your host, Bruce Howard.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Frank Haith Show. I'm Bruce Howard, joined by the head basketball coach at the University of Tulsa, Frank Haith. And boy, you knew this week was going to be a difficult one. You're going up against two of the best in the league in Cincinnati and Houston, and those two teams showed why they're top rated, didn't they?
They did. You know, we both games we didn't get off to great starts in the first half and got ourselves behind. So we were always trying to play catch up in both the games. And when you're trying to play catch up with the two best teams in your league, is going to be very difficult. And that's what happened. But I thought in both games in the second half, we played much better. We just got to keep our mindset positive, you know, because we knew it was going to be tough.
Absolutely. In a moment, we'll be back and we'll have highlights of Tulsa on the road against the Cincinnati Bearcats. That's when the Frank Haith Show continues in a minute. We're back on the Frank Haith Show. Coach, you get ready to go to Cincinnati, and this is a Bearcats team that only 2 weeks earlier you really took them to the wall and maybe shoulda, coulda won, lost in overtime. So, I mean, you know you can play with these guys.
Yeah, and you know, the game here was such a tough loss in terms of we played our butts off. We had to lead with a few seconds left, didn't make free throws, you know, and then you go over there, you know, they're very good in their arena, and I thought we, competed in the second half. Got off to a tough start, though.
As Coach mentioned in the open, yeah, a difficult beginning for the Golden Hurricane, but they hung in there throughout this game against Cincinnati. And for the Hurricane in the early going, first of all, it's a brand new stadium. They've done a nice job there in Cincinnati.
Really did a great job with that place. And as you can see early on, we knew we could score in transition or needed to score in transition. So you weren't always going against their half-court defense. Really nice drive there by Darian, being aggressive, and he's getting better and better each night. Darian
Jackson would have a career-high 10, but that's a basket by Cincinnati, which stemmed the tide a little bit. And you can see Cincy is up by 9 at this point, but no panic on your part.
No, our defense was solid early, and there we go into Martins, and one thing we struggled in the first game, we didn't score in the paint or 2 points, and we shot the ball better from the 2-point range in this ball game.
And they got some output from a couple of guys that normally don't score a lot for them, and you saw Scott just get one for them, and there's a nice three-pointer for TU.
Yeah, I think Scott was 6 for 7, but that was a good penetration and kick out for Lawson. Nice shot there. And they doubled us a little bit, Quan and Martins, and good reversal. I think Kern hits two threes back-to-back here, get us right back into striking distance.
Absolutely. That three-pointer by Curran Scott, getting that lead down to 9, and here he is again. And the bank shot.
Good find on a double team, really to close out the half, we got back in. It was a nice play by Elijah, good finish, attacking the rim.
And Elijah's doing a better job of attacking the glass, isn't he?
We're really wanting him to do a lot more of that. He's big, he's strong, he can finish, and this is what we wanted to do, get out in transition. Kern makes a nice little bank shot there. We're down within 11, and I think we cut it to 9 right here. Good attack by Martins and finish in the paint.
And they didn't double Martins as much as they did the first game.
We moved him around a little bit, so he wasn't quite on, right around the basket, and we did a much better job finding him in those areas.
Sterling Taplin shooting the ball better.
Yeah, he is, and obviously, like I said, I think we cut it to 9, but for the half, and they went back up 11. They scored at the other end, but we're right there. We're in striking this after getting off to such a poor start. I thought we were okay.
Turnovers maybe a little higher than you would want, but in that first game you turned it over 22 times, so this is a little bit better, and it didn't seem like they were getting a lot of those live ball turnovers.
Right, but you look at our shooting. I think they had 10 second chance points, but they shot only 42% and 31% from 3. We just got to rebound that basketball better.
Yeah, you out-rebounded Cincinnati in the first game and down 21-18 going into the second half. Unfortunately, the Bearcats would really up the pressure there. Here's a nice shot by Sterling.
We came out in the second half offensively, I thought, much better than we were in the first half. Attacking, getting better looks. The problem was they scored quite a bit from 3 in the second half, but our execution, I think we shot over 50% here in the second half, was really good. in the second half.
Quan Jeffries with that three-pointer, but as you mentioned, at the other end, Cincinnati was scoring almost every time down. There was something like 13 out of 14 possessions between the two teams where they scored here early in the second half.
Yeah, based on how that first half went, this stretch of the game was back and forth, each one of us scoring and executing really well offensively. And, I'm sure Mick, like me, was a little disappointed in our defense during that stretch.
But as you can see, Tulsa kind of hanging in there. The game went back and forth, 11-9, 11-12, that sort of thing throughout the month. But then when they got hot from three in the second half, that was tough.
Yeah, Jennifer and Cumberland both hit a lot. I think between the both of them, they hit 11 threes, and that really hurt us. You can see our shooting improved, but their shooting went way up because of the threes that they made in the second half and their execution offensively.
Yeah, they ended up with 10 second half three-pointers, Cincinnati, and they led by 11 at halftime, and then obviously winded away at the end and ended up winning the game by a final score of 88-64. And I think for the Hurricane, again, one of those games where you were competitive for a very long time, and then kind of at the end of the game, the rope let go of the rope.
Yeah, but I thought our guys, we knew it was going to be a difficult situation. We got into the game. We fought hard, then right there at the end, they got away from us.
So the Hurricane falling at Cincinnati, and in a moment we'll talk about TU at home against 17th ranked Houston when we continue. We're back on the Frank Haith Show, and the Murderers Row for the University of Tulsa with a really top-heavy schedule here in the front nine continues as Coach entertained number 17 Houston. What were your thoughts coming into the game as you got ready to play a team that plays awfully hard, matching their intensity and their physicality maybe?
Well, hopefully exceeding it in our building, and but we knew we were playing one of the best teams in the country. And looking at it and embracing the opportunity, and that's what we talked to our guys about. And I thought we competed hard. They're a really good team. If one guy's down like Davis, they have other guys that picked him up. And Brooks had a big game against us.
Houston winning the earlier matchup in Houston, but now we're at the Reynolds Center. The Golden Hurricane taking on the Houston Cougars, and here in the early going, you did match their intensity, I thought.
Yeah, I think they were one for their first 13 from three, and we were guarding them well. We got the rebounds we needed. We fought hard, but then, like you said, I thought early on we were really good. Good back cut by Darian, nice pass by Jariah, good execution offensively. And
Tulsa has the lead at 7-6. Chris Harris would get that layup to give Houston the lead back, but then you come right back.
Yeah, we early in this ball game, I think it was, we just had good execution early. It was low scoring. Both teams were trying to fill each other out. I think it ended up being 12-8 right there, and then they had a stretch where they made a lot of shots, but good drive right here by Quan and finish.
Yeah, what a play by DeQuan Jeffries. As he would not be denied on that play. You're down 12-9, now you're down 12-11, but the emotional aspect of a play like that is big.
Yeah, and I thought, they came down, I think they hit a shot right back, but our defense was active. I mean, we had, I think they had 10 steals, I think, or 16 turnovers we forced, so good activity defensively.
Absolutely, and it was DeQuan Jeffries at that point that was really keeping you afloat.
He was, and he played like an all-conference type player, and just doing all the little things. There's Darren Jackson getting his hand on deflection, and nice finish by Eli in transition.
Elijah Joyner with that layup, and we'll get another look at it as that made it 19-17. Playing these guys chest to chest, and that was one of the positive aspects of the game. Certainly was your fast hands and getting in the passing lanes.
So you see, 6-point game here with 6 to go in the half, and we cut it to 4 right here, and they had a stretch where they made a couple threes in transition. They got away from us a little bit.
Yeah, they made a ton of threes at the end of the half. All of a sudden, they started making those threes, and that's Allie with the three-pointer. Normally not a terrific three-point shooter, but then when they get their marksman going, it's hard to stop them.
Yeah, and they hit those right in transition. That's like a slow transition, and big shot right here by Jariah, keeping us, within distance. After they made it like I think 3 straight threes.
Right. And then this steal and layup again, and again it's Elijah Joyner at the other end, and that cuts it down to 7.
Yeah, and just nice play by Elijah, and we're still, we're right where we need to be with 4 minutes going to half.
But then at the end of the half again, and that's a fairly guarded three-pointer, isn't it?
Tough three right there by a guy that's not a great three-point shooter. Then Brooks gets one right here, and all of a sudden it's a 13-point lead.
Well, they can do it in a hurry, and at halftime you see you're down by 16 by a 45-29 score, and at this point you're concerned about a lot of things, but certainly the shooting at 34.4%. You just got to shoot it better.
Got to shoot it better, and we had some good looks, Bruce. I thought we had some really good looks at it, and you'll see our free throw percentage. We had missed a 1-and-1 opportunity there. Threes, obviously, what we're doing there, and just the shooting aspect of it just didn't give ourselves a chance. And some of those shots resulted in good shots for them.
And now we go into the second half, and here in the early part of the second half, you get it inside to Martin Zigbanu, and he's able to finish for you there.
Yeah, early in the second half we had good pop, I thought, offensively and defensively, for the most part. And there's Robinson. He's become a better three-point shooter, timely three-point shooter. But you see Brooks hitting these threes here deep in the second half. And
you had a high hand in that. And there's a dunk inside as Daquan Jeffries makes it a 17-point game. But right now you're just trading buckets. You got to obviously at this point try to cut into the lead, and you start to do that.
Yeah, nice block by Daquan, and then obviously we get back and scores in transition here. But good defensive play by Daquan.
And that knocks the lead back down to 16 as it had gotten up near that 20-point mark. But now you're continuing to slice into it. And at this point, you got to be a little bit patient, don't you, in terms of trying to come from behind. Right?
Absolutely. Nice pass by Chris. One more to Jariah, who really got back on track here offensively.
And this is part of a 6-0 run, and Lawson Carita splashes one for you, and that gets it down to 15 for you.
Nice guard behind, execution there, good bust-out dribble here by Dry, and then pass to Martins. That's good transition basketball. Right
and your team is running better, aren't they?
We are. We emphasize it, and our guys are getting out playing in transition a lot more.
And that layup cut the lead down to 13. And this one here.
Good execution out of bounds play, and nice finish by Daquan.
Cuts it down to 12, Coach, with about 8 minutes to go. So you're right there.
Right there, and it's an and one right here. Good drive by Dry, and we're in play with it. We're in play right now. So he cuts it to 9. He makes the free throw.
Right, absolutely. And now you see Tulsa's back down by 14. But again, Sterling Taplin starting to shoot the ball better.
He is. Good skip pass by Daquan right there too, though. But our defense was active, and there we are in transition. Nice play. Playing aggressive in transition, cut it to 8.
Got it to 68-60 at that point, and again the quick hands for the Hurricane and another steal, and that jumper by Jariah Horn gets it down to 8. Houston would make it 10 on that play, and that tip-in really hurt, didn't it?
Big time. We got to get that rebound. We can't give up that second shot. We got them on their heels, and that kills you. And then that three by Brooks was just a dagger.
Yeah, shot clock buzzer going off, just about ready to go off, and a fadeaway 23-footer, and he popped it. So that's a tough one, but you're still not done fighting.
No, and this is the part of the game I was really pleased with our guys just competing and not giving up, and keep fighting. And that was an errant pass that turned into a layup for these guys. Well, he threw it back out, but our guys fought hard here.
Well, and there you see the final score, 77-65 in favor of Houston. And again, you'd like to see the shooting a little bit better, obviously, in the ball game at 42%. But Daquan Jeffries, I thought, was the guy that really came to play for you.
He did. He played his butt off. But you look at their shooting, and part of that is the second shots. That's what killed us. They had, like, I think 20-plus points off second chance points.
Well, and they shoot so many three-pointers, they can shoot 30% from three and still pile up a lot of points, right?
Well, he shot 35 of them, and you're right, and they made quite a bit of them. But I felt like our guys, like I said, we knew this stretch was going to be tough, and we came in the game, we battled hard, we just didn't finish it.
Now we get ready for Tulsa at home against Memphis, coming up Wednesday at the Reynolds Center. More on the Frank Haith Show in a moment.
Now driving left side, dunking it for the Hurricane is Daquan Jeffries. He took it, he had two guys on his shoulder, and he slammed it down through there.
And we welcome you back to the Frank Haith Show. And Coach, when you got here 5 years ago, the Reynolds Center was 15 years old. Nice facility, great on-campus facility here at TU.
It really is, Bruce. I tell you, in terms of on-campus facility, it's one of the nicest ones in the country. Our scoreboard, all the things aesthetically around it, it makes it a beautiful arena.
Absolutely, but it wasn't always that way. In fact, TU went almost 7 decades without an on-campus facility. before the Reynolds Center was built some 20 years ago. Let's take a look back at the history of TU and a home court and now having a place they can call their own.
In the long history of TU basketball, which dates back to the 1907-08 season, the Hurricane has had several homes. On campus in the teens, it was Kendall Gym. But starting in 1920, Harwell Gym hosted TU basketball games. At the time, it was a state-of-the-art facility that was dedicated by none other than James Naismith, the inventor of the game of basketball. After Harwell, TU basketball's home was in various places for many years. But in modern times, from the mid-1940s on, most fans remember the Fairgrounds Armory, the Fairgrounds Pavilion, and the Downtown Convention Center. So in 1998, when the University of Tulsa opened the Reynolds Center, it was the first on-campus facility for TU basketball since the early 1930s. It was a welcome and long-awaited event, as finally the Golden Hurricane would have a place they could call their own. As part of the pomp and circumstance, the retired jerseys were dropped. First, Bob Patterson from the 1950s, then Paul Pressey from the Nolan Richardson era. Also from that era, Steve Harris from the 1980s. And then finally, the all-time leading scorer at TU from the Tubby Smith era, Shea Seals. There was tremendous excitement, a sellout crowd, fog, and spotlights. Another blast from the past, the Blues Brothers, and then the president of the university, Bob Lawless, with a two-hand chest pass to the refs to officially get things going. Also part of the festivities was athletic director Judy McLeod handing out plaques to former coaches Jim King, Ken Hayes, Joe Swank, and Skip Iba, son of legendary coach Clarence Iba. For head coach Bill Self, a special affair.
It was definitely the place to be in Tulsa last night. It was a terrific event, and of course I was nervous about the team playing well with all the hoopla that goes along with it, but we ended up playing well after we settled in. But a terrific night.
The opponent that night was Cleveland State, coached by the legendary Rolly Massimino. So Coach Self knew his team had to play well, and they did. Michael Ruffin got a tip and a steal and got fouled. So the answer to the first trivia question, who scored the first TU points in the building, was Michael Ruffin with a free throw. And then the first basket from the field for the Hurricane was a follow shot by Brandon Kurtz. The first three-pointer for the Hurricane in the new building was sunk by Greg Harrington, the three-pointer with the assist to Tony Hurd. And the Golden Hurricane was on their way. Tulsa led by 12 at halftime and pulled away to a dominating 79-51 win. So a great success all around for TU basketball, and the Tulsa community. The Hurricane has won nearly 80% of their games in the Reynolds Center, while the women's basketball program and volleyball as well have dominated the competition. For the past 20-plus years, we've come to take for granted the beauty of the Reynolds Center. But for those who came before and those who played before, the opening of the Reynolds Center was indeed a dream fulfilled.
We're back on the Frank Haith Show. We get ready for a very busy week in the American Athletic Conference, Coach. And Wednesday, when you host Memphis, you will come to the end of the brutal front nine of this 18-hole season, if you will. But it'll be Memphis at home. Really important game, isn't it?
Really important game. But you know, they're coming off a 20-point win against Central Florida, so we know they're super talented. As you know, same team they had last year, and they're very gifted. They got great guards. They got great quickness. They got great speed. Much like UConn in terms of athletically, when you look at them, how good their guards are. But then you got Thornton in the middle, you know, a guy that's very formidable in terms of scoring around the paint and being athletic. So it's going to be a super challenge for us on Wednesday evening.
Absolutely. At the Reynolds Center starting at 7, and then on Saturday you're at Wichita State, and you know how hard it is, even though they're down a little bit, you know how hard it is to go there and play. Yeah,
but I think they did beat Central Florida at home, and so they're a very capable team. When they play in their building, their crowd's going to be there, and you know it's going to be a tremendous atmosphere.
All right, Coach, have a great week.
Thank you, Bruce.
The head coach of the Golden Hurricane, Frank Haith, and we'll talk to you next week on The Frank Haith Show.
The Frank Haith Show, brought to you by Don Thornton Cadillac, Pepsi, River Spirit, TTCU, The Credit Union, and St. Francis Health System. The Frank Haith Show has been a presentation of Golden Hurricane Sports Properties and a Kane Vision production.